What's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. You know, I feel sorry for Drake, and then I don't. And I'll tell you why. Um, I know a lot of biracial people, and these are people that I've met throughout my life, who they're constantly feeling perplexed as to what their identity should be, and many of them, they'll say, like, I wasn't this race. If they're biracial, then obviously they weren't like black enough or white enough or whatever the mix may be. They weren't enough for either side, right? And, I think that they go through cultural dysphoria a lot of times because they're trying to figure out where they fit in. And so when I look at people like Drake, I don't look at a goofy, I mean, he's definitely a goofy dude for sure. He's goofy to me. But I also look at a person who's very perplexed in where they fit in, where they should be. And that would have been a dilemma that Drake could have leveraged in this beef, right? He could have leveraged that in this beef if he was not leveraging his other side against his black side. And I think that's why Drake is getting the hate that he's getting, is because Drake realized very early on in his career that he can leech onto black people, right? And get the credibility, from black people, but all the while he could play black people like he's a white guy playing black people. And he knew that because he had a whole Jewish side, because obviously his mom is Jewish, right? There was more leverage for him in the hip hop game than any other black artists who do not have that background. And I've talked about this before. White supremacy in America boils down to white looking people who are Gentiles, mostly Christians. And then you have your white looking Jewish people, right? And unfortunately, everybody else is just a casualty to their supremacy wars. And so Drake understands where his leverage is. And I think that he understood that early on in his career. He could ride on the Young Money coattail, get the black people credit there, right? And basically he could be that dude, that face in the hip hop industry, in a culture that really isn't technically his all the way, or he wasn't really raised in. And I think maybe he was trying to get his black cred that way. And I can't necessarily say that he was wrong, but again, when he started leveraging his Jewish side, to as an advantage, and he understood where that side of him had the most advantage, I think he just started playing ball with the wrong things, and he pissed off a lot of black artists. And I mean, even down to like Young Money and stuff like that, like he's demonstrated that he's not a loyal person. And so, when he started leeching off of all of these black artists, right, he wasn't doing it because he wanted to, be connected with his blackness. He was doing it because he was trying to become a face for black people, even though his loyalty was not really with black culture at all. So I don't feel bad for Drake, because he's getting the consequences of his fakeness, right? But I do feel bad for biracial people like Drake who are constantly having to choose a culture, and who feel like they're not enough for one culture or the other. I do feel sorry for people like that. I do. And if that would have been Drake's dilemma and he wasn't doing all that snake stuff, right? Because he couldn't, I feel like he wanted to own the culture. He wanted to be the culture. And, at the end of the day, he ended up being, revealed as a culture vulture. And so, let me know what you all think. I think that people who are biracial, I think people can immerse themselves in any culture. You know what I mean? Like if you're into black culture, you can immerse yourself into black culture, right? To me, I think that people need to stop looking at everything as cultural appropriation and start looking at it as cultural appreciation. But there are certain people who leech on to Black culture knowing that they can, get ahead that way, which is so funny because people always like to make Black people look like we are incapable, we're inferior, but they constantly leeching off of our ideas. It's crazy. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that there's some contradiction to this Drake and Kendrick argument? Some people are calling out the fact that Kendrick's wife, or not wife, but his baby mama is biracial. And so, the attacks against Drake are kind of contradictory. But again, I think Drake is being attacked because he has leveraged the fact that he's biracial and part of him is Jewish to get ahead in the industry. And again, I don't think that Drake is a bad artist, but I definitely don't think that he is the artist that the industry, predominantly run by non-Blacks, have promoted him to be all these years. And he just learned how to look popular, leeching on to up-and-coming artists, in my opinion. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next one.